Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us this week. This is from the CBN. I am Emisi Dada. Economic stimulus is action by the government to encourage private sector economic activity by engaging in targeted expansionary monetary or fiscal policy based on the ideas of Keynesian economics. And that sets the tone for our focus today on the program as we continue to examine the economic intervention initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. But before that, let's bring you up to speed on news highlights from the Apex Bank this week. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria held its last bi-monthly meeting for this year earlier in the week, where it decided by a unanimous vote to retain all monetary policy parameters.
At this meeting, the committee focused not only on price stability, but also on the need to speedily take actions to exit the recession. In view of these considerations, the choices before the committee were focused whether on the need to tighten the stance of policy to address rising price levels, recognizing its primary mandate of price stability, to ease to support output recovery, or to allow existing policy initiatives to permeate the economy. On balance, MPC was of the view that although all three options offer some benefits to the economy, the whole option was desirable at this meeting. Based on these factors, members voted in line with the most pressing need towards reversing the recession and achieving medium-term macroeconomic stability.
Also at the MPC press briefing, CBN Governor Mr. Godwin Emefiele addressed the media on the issue of foreign exchange parallel market as well as steps being taken to exit recession in Nigeria.
Recession or contraction in growth, in output, is what we have seen throughout the entire world as a result not only of drop in commodity prices, but because of the adverse consequences of the health crisis created by COVID-19. In some developed countries, during the first, second, and even the third quarter, we saw some of them even showing double-digit contraction in growth. But in Nigeria, what we've seen, during the second quarter, we saw a minus 6.1% contraction, and I will use pleasantly in third quarter, a reduction in output to 3.6% negative during the third quarter. Let me say that we are hopeful, and the Minister of Finance had addressed some gathering yesterday where she said that she's hopeful that during the first quarter of 2021, Nigeria will exit recession. Based on data available to the MPC from the CBN, we are somewhat cautiously optimistic that indeed, if we continue doing what we're doing and do more, that there's a likelihood that we will see some little positive output numbers during the fourth quarter of 2020. But I can say with some level of certainty as well that we are so certain that during the first quarter of 2021, we will exit the recession. I want to say this, that it is unfortunate and really unfair that even analysts who are supposed to know will play with numbers and begin to determine the exchange rate of our currency using parallel market rates. For the information of everybody, parallel market, as far as we know it and the data that we have, is a shallow market in Nigeria with no more than 5% of market share. Parallel market, and quote me, is a tainted market in Nigeria where people who desire to deal in illegal foreign exchange transactions, including sourcing of FX cash for purposes of offering bribes, corruption, that is where they deal. And that is where people who are supposed to understand the implication of this on the economic activity on our country begin to go to television and begin to say that our exchange rate is 480. This is very unfortunate that this is the way those who are supposed to know try to bend numbers in this country. Parallel market is a market where people who do not provide documentations to support their transactions deal in. It cannot be a basis to determine the value of our currency. Everybody knows and is accepted that the NFX market, which is predominantly the ironing window, is a market that should be used for determining the exchange of our naira. As far as we are concerned today, the NFX ranges between 380 going to 386, 387, and we have been very open about the market price determination factors in that market. The central bank has no hand in price determination in that market. And in any case, when people say that it should depreciate, the currency should depreciate. Nigeria has depreciated its currency this year by 28%. That is a whooping depreciation compared to depreciation in some countries.
So the various intervention schemes of the Apex Bank meant to cushion the effects of the pandemic and to spur economic growth couldn't have come at a better time. We sought to know which of the schemes Nigerians are familiar with. Here's the response.
I've heard about the Anchor Borrowers program of the CBN, of which my association have applied for some assistance.
I'm not aware.
I'm aware of that of agriculture. And yes, agriculture.
I've benefited from the Anchor Borrowers program. I think I'm aware of the youth, the loan that the youth can access, or small and medium enterprise businesses.
From my understanding, I think the intervention come at the right time, at least to cushion the effects of those people that they lost a lot during the NSAS protest.
Although they have written us a response to our application letter, but up till now we are still in the process of getting the application approved. Yeah.
The one I know is for, I don't know, I think one for graduates, whereby like an internship, I don't know whether it's CBN or maybe Lagos State, I don't know whether that one is Lagos State. I also know the traders, one for the traders. I don't know their names, I don't know their institution, I don't know their names. I know there's one for the traders, there's one for SMEs, and I don't know about the household one.
I don't know. I only know some people that are agitating for it and go there. They say they are going for training. After the training, they will get the land and they will be giving grants. That's all I know.
It's a program that helps farmers to come together and to form a cooperative, and then the CBN intervene by relating with the cooperative, giving them financial assistance to do whatever they want to do, agricultural wise, I mean. So I'm a beneficiary.
I've encouraged people, especially the youth in my church. Most of them were complaining that the links are not even going through. Some people say they will get a point, it will stop, it will not link them to where they will get the forms and fill it. So that is the real thing that the government should tackle. There are a lot of fraudsters. Before you know it, people will say, get to this link, get to it. People are also being defrauded, so people are skeptical about it. Well, to my understanding and to my belief, no matter what the case may be, at this time, after the COVID-19, we all understand the economic situation we have in this country. At least we should always consider our country first. The interest of our country should be paramount to every one of us.
If you're yet to benefit from any of the CBN intervention schemes, you can still do so. There is the Agribusiness Small and Medium Enterprise Investment Scheme. the Creative Industry Financing Initiative, the CBN Finance Nigeria Youth Investment Fund, and many others. During the week, I had a virtual interview with the MD CEO, Nestle Microfinance Bank, Abubakar Abdullahi Kure, whose institution is responsible for the disbursement of funds for some of the schemes of the CBN. Can you quickly take us through the process for accessing the targeted credit facility? I understand 49 billion has been disbursed already. So what is the modality for accessing that, since you still have more to disburse, and as well as the Agricultural Small and Medium Scale Enterprises Intervention Scheme, AGMIS? Can you take us through the process of, accessing the facilities?
Okay, thank you. The process is actually based on technology. It's technology driven. The idea is to allow people freedom to apply irrespective of their location. What you need to do is just access through our website, use your internet, you put in your data, you select the EDI you want the training for. After, you must have put in your amounts, whether your household or your SME, there are threshold which you are supposed to apply. So the first thing is you apply. The second thing is you choose an EDI that you wanted to be trained on. And thereafter, the EDI will help you develop business plan. You also need to pay a fee, about 15,000. We are trying to negotiate to make it lower and more competitive. And we are also trying to list any EDI that will have confirmed investigation. We are charging above that threshold. So as soon as the data comes to us, we do other evaluation like credit check. If you have an outstanding credit unpaid in the banking industry, you may not be able to access it. If your BVN is not valid because the unique identification, the basis to which you recover our funds, this is what we call global standing instruction. Global standing instruction simply means it's a platform which allows banks to recover their money irrespective of where the customer has account. As long as it has a deposit, a credit deposit in the account, and he has defaulted, activate it to recover our funds. So these are the primary conditions. We have removed, initially we started very slowly because several conditions were attached, guarantor, movable asset, domiciliation account, NMB, and other conditions. But because the wider number of people are not accessible, we didn't meet the conditions. The conditions were relaxed. Now we have had significant number. And we hope that before the end of the year, we'll move from 200,000 to about 350,000. That is our target.
All right, now talking about the EDIs, the Entrepreneurship Development Institutes, there have been complaints about some of them that they were charging exorbitant fees. Are you aware of such developments, and what is being done to protect loan seekers?
Yeah, well, thank you. We're actually aware. We had report of such cases. Such cases, we normally investigate it, and those found to be responsible or involved in that unprofessional conduct are sanctioned by way of delisting them from our records. That's a serve as an example to other EDIs. We're also aware some EDI without even training applicant issue them a certificate. We have also delisted some. So we have asked our branches, NMB branches, to also take a field visit to some of these EDIs to ensure that they have quality around training or entrepreneur training around them, so that applicant will have value for their money, and that will help them in the management of the funds, so that they can also be able to pay back. Eventually, they can employ people when you have multiplier or desired effect in the economy.
Now, a lot of Nigerians are yet to fully understand or be aware of some of these initiatives. I'm sure some are hearing on our program now for the first time that there is something called Targeted Credit Facility, and that there is Agricultural Small and Medium Enterprise Investment Scheme. Now, are you still accepting applications for the Targeted Credit Facility and AGMIS?
At the moment, no, because already we have over 2.7 million applications. So, and we have covered about 150. We intend to cover 250 before the end of the year. So what we normally do is to pull the data from the portal. Those that have already applied, because it's low demand supply, resources are not almost getting stretched. Central One is always done. Is the one supporting this project in its target or mandate for monetary stability. So what we try to do is that since we already have enough data or people waiting, the waiting list, there's no point opening the data, the portal again to access more people. Because COVID, is supposed to be temporary, it's lasted up to 1 year. It's not a product that should, by design, should last for long. Unfortunately, because the thing has extended to nearly 1 year, and we already have enough data. So whoever you will get in the future will be those that have applied almost 3 or 4 months. But at the moment, we have closed the portal after staying or running for over 3 months. But the admins is available. It's another product for SME businesses. Those who want to apply are welcome. We have done some numbers, and we also have a target for 2020. So more and more people, of course, also enjoy from their admins, so that eventually to have multiplier effects coming on the economy towards end of the year, given that end of year is the basis for measurement of our performance. We want to see more figures of admins, more figures for this year, especially getting towards Christmas. We want to make people happy, we want to make business happy, we want to make household happy. However, this money is not a grant, it's a loan. And a loan that in the Central Bank wisdom is a subsidized loan. You can't get this type of loan anywhere. So anybody that uses it very well, it will change his life, the quality of his life. And when you pay back, other people can also grow. It's a recycling loan. So all Nigerians who have genuine businesses, genuine need to apply for admins, so that people can get self-employed. It's a cheap way of getting funds for capital.
All right. Earlier, you also mentioned the new initiative that is being funded by the CBN, which is actually the Nigeria Youth Investment Fund. Now, as disbursement started for the for the scheme, as disbursement started, the Nigerian Youth Investment Fund.
It is yet to start. We are putting all the framework in place. Just a Prime Minister of Youth and Sports. Currently, we have over 2 million applications on the portal, which is being processed. We are currently, the first batch are going to EDIS training under the management of or administration of Minister of Youth and Sports. But we're trying to see how we can accelerate the process by way of ensuring that instead of using some few EDIs, we have larger number of EDIs that can take the training at the same time. So that we will now do the evaluation and then send to Central Bank for funding. The Central Bank portion is 12.5 billion. That's what we're starting with. Central Bank have made its own available, its own portion. So that's what we're, of course, starting with. So as soon as we get the training aspect done by the ministry, we hope to start the funding of youth.
Earlier, I also had a one-on-one interview with prominent economist who is a member of the Economic Advisory Council and the MD CEO of Financial Derivatives Company Limited, Bismarck Rewane, on the intervention initiatives of the CBN and other economic matters. The Central Bank of Nigeria came up with some initiatives to help cushion the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic on households, on small, medium enterprises and other businesses. What's your opinion about those initiatives of the Central Bank of Nigeria?
They're laudable to the extent that, everything, all hands were on deck. But it wasn't just only the Central Bank. We had the Economic Sustainability Plan of the federal government, fiscal authorities. There were monetary policy incentives as well. All of it to reduce the the impact of the pandemic. Having said that, there were also some policy initiatives, including forbearance for some borrowers, some new intervention money for various sectors. So there was a package. Could we have done more? Yes, but even that which we have done, we've seen the impact. And that is why when there was a partial reopening of activity, in spite of the pandemic lockdown, we saw an increase of about 57% in the value of transactions traded in the second quarter of this year, which was remarkable. Don't forget that the lockdown started on the last day of the first quarter. For the first 14 days, there were no checks being issued. The clearinghouse was closed all over Nigeria. So we saw checks in circulation drop to 10 billion from over 297 billion the previous month. But lo and behold, when we saw at the end of the second quarter, electronic payments and value of transactions that increased by almost 56%.
Now, talking about doing more, what other innovative ways could the government, the central bank, other agencies of government could bring succor? What other innovative ways could they bring succor and spur growth in the economy?
Well, let's do two things. One is responding to the shock is one thing, that's tactical. But prior to the shock, we had some pre-existing conditions in Nigeria, some fundamental and structural defects of the economy. So those structural defects should have been addressed simultaneously with a tactical response. I think we delayed some of those things that we should have done in March, and we started doing them in August. In other words, the deregulation of the petroleum sector should have been done in March rather than in August. The electricity cost reflective tariffs should have been done in March at the same time. So as you are giving people palliatives, you're also taking some structural steps, strategic steps to correct, so that simultaneously you'll see everything moving in the same direction. So that as soon as the COVID effect wanes off, you will see the impact of the strategic moves begin to manifest in giving you what we call accelerated and sustainable growth.
And since that wasn't done, and it is just being done now.
Since that was delayed.
Thank you. Since that structural reform was delayed and it is only being carried out now, what do you think the effect will be on the people? Because actually people are groaning and complaining, and there seems to be like a roadblock, sort of, since the structural reform was delayed.
Well, my late father used to say, doing the wrong thing at the right time and doing the right thing at the wrong time will give you the same outcome. So, but we are where we are, right? So what we need to do is to ensure that that mechanism for market reform is implemented efficiently and effectively, so that the impact on the people, negative impact on people is minimized, and the positive impact on the people is accentuated. So if you look at the projections in March, were that the amount of money going to the Federal Allocation Committee for sharing will drop to as low as 400 billion naira. The price of oil was projected to drop to $28 a barrel. What do we see? The price of oil has come all the way back to 40. In fact, dropped to 35, but $40, $42, right? And the exchange rate at which the dollars were being monetized for the state governments has actually been better for the government. In other words, from 320 went to 360, 360 to 380. So the governments are getting more money. The governments, this last month, 659 billion, I think, roughly, was shared, as against a negative projection of 400. So the question is, what has the money been used for? And what impact has this increased spending had on the people? That's the question that needs to be asked and interrogated. I'm sure the government has the answers, and the government will answer. Because definitely the money was not stolen or whatever it is. The money was used. Okay. So when we now see how it has been used, if it was not impactful in use A, you can now say, okay, why don't we move money from use A to use B or use C? So, one, what has the improved revenue situation of the government? What has it been applied towards? What's the impact of this application on the ordinary man? And if it's not optimal, how do we improve it so that the ordinary man can feel the full impact and the benefits of this improved revenue of the government?
We will bring you the concluding part of that interview in subsequent episode of the program. You can find out more about the various economic intervention schemes of the Central Bank of Nigeria from its website www.cbn.gov.ng. Channel your complaints to the CBN Contact Center through the phone number provided below. Send in your comments and inquiries to our email address fromthecbn@gmail.com. Follow us on all our social media platforms for updates and a repeat of previous episodes of the program, including this one. We hope to bring you testimonies of beneficiaries of the various CBN schemes next week. Join us then. I'm Emefiele. Stay safe and bye for now.